Well, this is a guy's 1940 Chevrolet Coupe hot rod. Some would call this a gasser. I actually bought this Sight Unseen out of California and had it shipped all the way to Tennessee to my friend's house so he could hang on to the thing for me, and it's been sitting here since. I'm gonna try to get this thing fired back up, jam it on the highway, and try to drive it 200 miles home in rain. We're also under a severe thunderstorm, and it's on slicks. Also don't have wipers or lights, seat belts. Oh, more thunder, good. But listen, for every mile of highway, there's 2 miles of ditch, or 3 if you're on the interstate. It's gonna be fine. No, this is pretty bad actually. So quick story on this bad boy right here. My buddy David Freiberger sent me a listing for this. And he said, this is kind of up your alley. And I said, you're darn tootin', bought it. And I actually bought it for an episode of Roadworthy Rescues. So I flew out there and David and I threw this thing together in like 4 days. Like I said, it had been off the road for like 40 some years. And we took it out to an old airport and did some 8th mile drag racing with it. And after that, it got thrown on a truck and sent out here, and it's been sitting here since. I got a smoking deal on this because the guy I bought it from, which is another friend, Gil, thought that this thing was knocking. It had a really weird, kind of sounded like a wrist pin or a rod knock or something going on with it, but it turned out it wasn't, and I ended up getting a really, really good deal on this thing. Nonetheless, if memory serves me correctly, this is gonna be extremely sketchy. The weather doesn't help. It doesn't steer correctly. It's still on drums. There's a million things that can go wrong. And wait till you see the wiring on this thing. It is straight out of Apollo 2. Was there an Apollo 2? Had to have been, because there was 11. Hello. Anywho's, let's walk around this thing, drink it up. We'll do the usual. Start in the trunk. I had my buddy here, Chad, not the other Chad or the other Chad or Iowa Chad, throw some parts in there for me. I see some boxes in the front. See what we got. There's some things that we have to do before we leave. The transmission leaks terribly bad. We won't make it 300 yards before we go through 9 quarts. We gotta address that. Go through the thing bumper to bumper, pretend we didn't see a lot, and then we gotta jam it on the road because it's already very dark out with the storm. We got a bigger front coming in, and then nightfall. It might have headlights. I can't remember, but I definitely know it doesn't have taillights. So we got, let's get going. Let's start over here. By the way, I drove my daily driver down here, the Bland National, threw a toolbox in the back and a jack and jack stands. This thing made it up here flawlessly, 0 issues, got great fuel mileage. We're gonna leave it here and my buddy's gonna take it to a local upholstery shop because we're gonna get a headliner in this bad boy. That's right, I said it. Let's get in a headliner. So that leaves this for our ride home. Now, legend has it, and this comes from quite a few people, this thing was the terror of Van Nuys, or basically Hollywood, back in the day. This thing would go out and absolutely dominate the streets and just tear everything up out there that wanted the drag race. You know, the old light to light, less than an 1/8 mile kind of stuff. And I thought that was really cool. And you know that I love the story sometimes even more than the car, and that just added to this one, so I had to have it. The body is exactly like I found it. I didn't change anything about it. It's obviously very flat or dull when it's not wet. These tires and wheels are brand new, and there's a story behind that as well. We got Kragers with pie crust slicks in the back, and Kragers with I don't even know in the front, to be honest. To finish the episode for Roadworthy Rescues, we couldn't find tires and wheels that matched, well, fit or matched. So I had to borrow some from my friend Gil. So when that was over, I had to order some stuff, send it to him so he could throw on quick to get it onto the transport to get it back to Tennessee. This is the first time that I'm seeing it with Kragers, and I think that looks pretty awesome actually. I don't mind it at all. I actually had the radius, that rear, I'll show you really quick. Look at all that rubber thrown up on there. So this is going to need to be cut probably a little bit more, but you can see there was some old school pinstriping that actually used to come down like this. And I had to come in here and cut this lip open to about right here. And then this is the original road lip to fit the tire package that we were using. This might work for here, but there is a lot of wheel hop. This thing is still on the original springs, so it just flops all over the place when you start spinning them. And I got more wire than the Yellowstone Ranch in that rear end. She's welded up, you know, poor man's posi and whatnot, but it worked, still hanging in there. We got side pipelators. There was some guy, another story that's true, working on a lift outside, and he did exhaust. And I said, hey, can you stick a pipe on this thing? Boom. And then I just rattle can that black. Original front end on this, if I remember right, only one shock is actually hooked up. Oh yeah, see, that one's just completely deleted. That's so you could leave the line better. Nope, it's just absolutely terrifying, and it does this down the road. You kind of just suggest, and it might kind of go where you want it to. Here you can see some more awesome pinstriping. Back in the day, this thing was really gussied up. Look at this. It's beautiful, really cool. I'm liking the shiny. Might have to clear coat this thing. There was a bunch of pinstriping around here. So this is a special deluxe. Coupe had the small window, where the sedans obviously had the bigger window, and they had the wagons and the four doors and all of that stuff. We've got the filler neck to the original fuel tank, which we are not using. I put a fuel cell in this. That's actually under the seat. And then we'll end up checking out this 454, the block of bigs. Finally got some gold valve covers. Ooh, he even trash bagged the fuel making happener for me. Wow. Well, that's going to be drinking some water on the way home. Skinnies and slicks. Not good for rain. But we're going to have to try to figure it out. Let's get in the trunk and see what we got going on. If you're liking the snazzy flannel, it's hot for a flannel, but it's keeping me dry. BGG branded Dixon, they're all snazzed up. These are coming very, very soon. You'll be able to grab one. Okay, so we just, yips. There we go. We got parts. We got lots of parts. We got fuel. That would be a good one to have. I'll trade some parts for fuel. Ooh, that is already bad. Anywho's, I'll get you, did I even put a, wow, I must have had some spare time on my hand. I'll get you in here. Look at this here setup. I even trimmed her out. Piece of aluminum from the hardware store. I remember now jamming that piece in there. It was just a scrap laying around. That's actually the fuel line that I just Christmas tree bitted right through the floor. Oh, chunk of metal stuck in it. That's fine. Well, we've got a WP, so it probably gets hot. Got some drain pans. Oh yeah, see? Transmission filter kit. We're gonna need that. This thing leaks terribly bad. Brakes that I never did. Ran out of time. The battery should be good, and it's been unplugged. And I hope it is, because I didn't bring another one. Transmission modulator, oil filter, we've got ATF, we got some motor oil. So we got enough to do. There's something under there. I think that's a starter. This is all stuff I didn't get done in time. We got that little fuel cell, so we should only have to stop for fuel every 36 miles. You know, big block, 8 miles to the gallon. That's just the way it is. But we got everything here, which is nice. I shouldn't have to run around. Tail lights do not work. And you could tell because of the way that it just is, you know, nothing's really going on there. So that's pretty neat. Okay, let's climb inside here. Okay. Oh yeah, look at that. 1940. Woo! It has grown a certain smell. I'm trying to figure it out. Oh man, did a possum die in here? Something in my eye. Okay, wow, the webs. Nothing like finding a re-abandoned car that you already got that was abandoned. Okay, I'll bring you in here. It's pretty neat. Oh, it's leaking everywhere. It's not good. I need to get a rain suit. So like a guy was saying, this was dolled up back in the day. Look at this door panel. It was all custom. Used to be burnt orange. Now it's kind of like a doe skin, tannish. Carpeted bottoms. I think these might be Impala seats. See the chrome around them? Anyway, these, I bet this interior was really beautiful at one point. There's the fuel tank under there. There is no deck lid, that's just gas fumes spraying in. Got the old school 3-spoke. It's got some aftermarket blinker stick thing. Floors are soaked. There's not really floors in them, but it's just water pouring in from the window and underneath the firewall. Essentially, webs everywhere in here. The dash fell out. That was the temp gauge. And then here's what does that say? Night light? Light. No, I don't know what that says. I don't know what that one says. Light, ignition, maybe, with a question mark. And yes, that's Romex out of a house. That's a house wire. And then you've got an old school fuel gauge over here, which no longer works. I don't know what this toggle does. Never figured that out. And then we've got amperistices, the pressure of oils, and water pieces. That one doesn't work, obviously. We're using this one. We put this shifter in there, that B&M. It was a really nice belay. So we fogged that down with black, because that was too nice. Oh, 0 brakes. That's weird. Why would that have brakes? You know what I mean? Perfect. That's going to be a big issue. We probably better move that in front of all of the leaks, etc. It's got a headliner. Pretty cool little car. I think this is going to be one that I'm just going to have to hang on to. It's something that everyone wants, kind of that gasser style, and it's kind of a wives' tale. If it has a front end or a look like this, doesn't mean it's a gasser or a solid straight front axle. That was the class that it would have drag raced in. So I've just been calling this a hot rod. Some would refer to it as a gasser. It kind of looks like a gasser, but we don't know what class this would have raced in, to be honest. Okay, let's pop the hood. The best part, the block of big. Guy's just been struggling with this hood. It's been so long I can't remember the trick. There's got to be a way to... Let me get the Grand National trunk key. Is that doing anything? I don't think it is. How do you open it? Oh, wait. That made noise. There we go. Oh, of course. So I gotta push that forward. I need a 40 Chevy hood prop. found one. It's real nice. Okay. Oh yeah. Minimal. Effective. Maybe. I'm not sure. Oh, the wiring on this. Oh boy. Oh, neat. Yeah, cool. Oh, okay. Yeah, so, remember the blue Chevelle? Similar. The guys must have known each other. This is actually an old kickdown switch. Homemade kickdown switch that never did function. More house wiring. Guy wired in his own flasher. This is from me. That's the fan relay, if I remember correctly. And looks like I rewired the charge and whirler, a couple other things. But yeah, I wanted to leave that the way it was. Old school Mallory box. That's the old 28675 Mallory with the dual point distributor down there. Look at these sweet headers. Fender exit headers. I don't know what brand they are, but they sweep out. Actually, that's why this pane is shot. Comes right here and then down into that. And then we've got, oh, the air filter I never changed. It's just, you know, yellow and rotten, but I did put a new brawler under there and we got that dialed in. That's for our temp gauge. I did put hoses on it, so I'm pretty sure this is going to be okay-ish. Maybe, as long as we don't lose oil pressure or overheat. This is a very small radiator. In fact, I'm trying to remember, we must have been getting hot because I also got a fan on here. Even though it's got a direct drive fan here. It looks like it runs off a temperature switch. I'm kind of relearnalizing all this with you guys as I'm looking at it. Yeah, we don't need that weight reduction. Get out of there. So that's what hopefully is going to get us home. Nope. Breakdown. Oh, the cowl vent's open. That's probably part of the reason it's pouring water in. Should be a lever right through this black widow spider web. There we go. So here's the plan. I don't have one. Let's just pretend we didn't see any of that, or the slicks, or the no brakes. Let's just fire it up. I think we're all gonna feel better if we hear a big block and straight pipes. Yep, is this a burn pile? Wow, good day to be burning it. Anyway, let's fire it up. Should fire up, maybe. And if it does, and it has enough ATF in it, I think I'm gonna sneak it up betwixt these cute maple trees up here. Get out of this rain. I don't have any other clothes or anything like that. I ain't gonna melt. I'm just saying, we got a long day of driving if we can get this thing on the road. Then we gotta deal with brakes. We get brakes knocked out, then we'll worry about the transmission leak. Then we can worry about these tail lights or whatever people are talking about. Apparently there's something new about them. And we'll go from there. So let me jump in, figure out the switch combination. Is this a mechanical fuel pump? Yes. So we just got to pump it 58,912 times. And we'll see if it fires off of this rotten gas that smells like deck stain. Okay, let's do that. Yep. Yep. Oh yeah, there we go. Still bad. Good. Oh, barely any slop in the steering. Oh, there's the front brakes I never did. Brake hose. Some fittings and bleeders. That's the rear brake line, must be. Well, that's good. They're there, so we can never use them. Anyway, looks like the key Oh, I forgot about that. A Ford ignition. Ooh, I don't know if I could do this one-handed. Nothing happened. Oh, I gotta hook up the battery. Remember, that's off. Okay, let's do that. Yep. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Okay, this is a boat box I put in here, or a marine box. Okay, that's hooked up. Okay, we got a red light. Why does that go off when I hit the throttle? I don't know what that is. Oh, the horn works. Why does that say anything but a horn? Huh. Anyway, ignition. Oh! Oh! Lord have mercy! Look at that! Wow! Woo! Like the steam immediately, and it just sits here and idles. It's got a little cam in it. Oh man, it sounds so good. Nothing like a big block, and I don't care if it's Ford or Mopar or Chevy. Yes, sir, and ma'am. All right, let's see. Now, does it have enough ATF to move? Oh yeah. How do you put this in reverse? Oh, I ain't got brake. Just jam it in reverse. All right, let's move it up. Let's move it up into these maple trees, should we? Okay. Okay, I found a big oak tree. Let's see if we can get it under this thing. Yeah, tickle more. What? The ignition won't shut it off? Is that even a switch? Well, we got ourselves nestled under this big old oak tree here. And this ought to keep us a little more dry, at least till this big front comes in. I don't know. Oh, there it is. I don't know what we're gonna do then, but we gotta keep our feet moving until that happens. Okay, we're gonna need brake fluid at minimum. Looks like I got brake parts. Might have to try to find some wheel cylinders. Not sure where I left off or what I even did. So I'm gonna get back in the Bland National, fly into town, grab that stuff, come back, get to work on the brakes, and I think I already mentioned, it wasn't a plan, it was an order of ops. Okay, let's be honest. All right, I'm gonna let this thing sit. Hopefully it doesn't light on fire. It moved. Fired right up immediately. That is great news. The old bow tie, little bow tie. All right, see you in a bit. Back from a parts run. Apparently they make suits for rain. So I got one. This one is the Mario edition. It comes with the suspenders and bib style buttons bottoms, and that's nowhere near fitting, but the top might. I also got a tarp to lay on and some brake juice. So now we can come back here and see if we can get the brakes to work on this old gal. The fun part about this is the brake master cylinder is a frame mount on the floor down here. And if memory serves me correctly, I broke that free by hitting it with a sledgehammer repeatedly after heating it to 9,000 degrees and spraying it with WD-40. So it's probably still good. Well, first step has got to be this master cylinder. Ain't gonna find these in town, and there's not one in the car, which probably means I didn't find one last time either. So there we go. Let's get this cracked open. Throw some juice in it, see if it's going to build pressure. If it's not, we're shut down, fellers and fellettes. Just like that. Why did I put that on so tight? It's weird working on a car that you know you actually worked on. Because you're like, what idiot did that? Oh. Whoops. Guilty. Guilty as charged. Ooh, the burlap potato sack on the firewall is pretty sweet. Okay, that is off. I'm assuming it's empty. I can't see nothing. Dump this on the new tarp I just laid down. Okay. I'm getting bubbles. That's a good sign. Pedal's coming back. No. Can't be. Oops, just spilled $4 in brake fluid. Wow. That easy? I want to pump this for a while. If you just agitate it back and forth, there's essentially a piston in. Get in here close. Why are you standing way back there? Get in here. There you go. So there's a piston essentially, like think of it like a piston in a motor that rides in a bore, okay? And there's rings on that, O-rings. And it's like a plunger or like a needle essentially. And those rings can get dry rotted or cracked or fail, and that's what a bad master cylinder is. But sometimes they'll just leak a little bit. If you get some juice or fluid on them, brake fluid will swell things. It's sometimes, for example, why you'll see that I'm not wearing a ring is because I wear a silicone wedding ring for safety reasons, but if it gets brake fluid or other oils on it, it will expand and just fall off my hand. And then the guy's gotta go shop and get another one. Same thing happens with these O-rings. So if we just agitate it a little bit, get some of the air out and let this sit, those could swell again and give us just enough brakes to get home, which is way more gooder than not. Dark is here in about 2.5 hours. I think while this sits, let's start talking about lights because we're going to be in it. I know we are. There's no way around it. Might as well do it now. Well, we got some daylight, figure out what's going on, okay? Okay. That was weird. I know some of you are probably thinking, how does he not remember this? You worked on the car. Well, when you work on a car every single week, or 2 to 3 cars every week, 365 days a year, you know, it's only so much you can remember. So there's a switch in here that says lights. We figured out the other one was horn, even though it said like air freshener or something. What does that do? Does that do anything? Well, you said it didn't, but I didn't believe you. It did not. Okay, so we don't got lights. What if we flip it the other way? What does that do? Still nothing. Let's turn the key on. Ooh, I wonder if it's high and low, because it's a 2-position switch. Or is it? Yeah, no, it's momentary one way and on the other. Okay, ignition on. What does that do? Nothing. Uh-oh. Well, a guy can't have everything. Oh, there's a high-low switch. What did that do? Nothing. Nothing at all. Oh boy. If I have to dig into that wiring, that is going to be something. Is ignition got to be on? How would that make sense? I don't think both bulbs would be bad. Let me hit the switch again. What does that do? Well, now we're in it. We are into it. Okay. Feels like, whoop. Okay, that's on. Ooh, blinked in here, flashed like a loose connection. Oh, I have my hopes up. Okay, well, could it be a, ooh, sparks. Oh, I'll be dipped. Okay, so spark one right here. Wish I had a marker. Second rusty in from the right. Is that the one? Yep. Well, I wonder if a guy shakes these other ones around. There's a lot of sparks flying off of that. Sparks on that one too. I don't know what that one does. Well, yeah, I'll send you the invoice. Oh wait, that's to myself. I guess this one could be free. Okay. So that's good. We got headlights, but I know the tail lips ain't gonna work. Let's see. Let's shut that off for now. We gotta make an executive decision. Okay. That's a nice square body. Oh wait, I think that one's mine. Yeah, I think so. I might have a truck here. You guys getting tired of square bodies? That's a 3+3. Jobber over there. I don't know, bleep bloop it. Want to do some more truck stuff? I think I got one sitting there for a long time. Anyway, here's the debate a guy's been having with himself. Over 200 miles, back roads, Tennessee, we've got bad weather, poor lighting, slicks, terrible handling, questionable brakes. Do I run these lights off of like trouble lamps or a Milwaukee battery? Or do we try to wire them in solid? Because I think I might be able to run a wire up to like the headlight switch. So we just have running lights. We might not have brake lights, but we'll run all the stop signs, because then we won't need brake lights. Okay, now we're on to something. Let's go back to the truck and figure this out. So there must have used to been a line that ran, and I don't know where it is, or, oh, this might be it right here. Whoop, a chunk of it fell off. This might be it right here. There's some wires there, but I stripped these because I thought we would at least start testing what wires this takes to juice up. One must be a running, one must be a brake, I'm assuming, or one's a ground. I don't know. And I took the lenses off. By the way, these are real glass. Don't make them like they used to. Really cool. Really good shape too. This one's got a little chip out of it, but anywho's. I thought about just running a Milwaukee battery right here and just plugging them in. That could get us home, but you got to remember this is probably going to be a 3 to 5 hour trip, depending on everything that goes on, and I don't know that battery is going to last that long. So do we throw a speaker wire or something, whatever we could find, through the cab and hotwire these? Maybe step one is, what do these wires do? Do these have juice? I'm not seeing any sparkles, but maybe we'll test those, test this, see if we can even get a lamp light out of these, and then figure out which way we're going to go. Yep. Hips. Never getting up from that one. Okay, so if a guy has any sort of digital wrist ruiner, doesn't matter the brand. We're not going to start that. Okay, this one's a Milwaukee, and it says positive and sad right on it. Other brands, I don't know what you use. Bauer or Hercules or what's the other one? Makita, DeWalt, them are still around. They might say positive or negative. If not, just take a digital meter and figure out what's what. These are great for testing. So I got the 3 wires here, and I'm assuming yellow's probably going to be hot because there's only one of them. Jam that in there. Jam this one a negative. Nothing. Has this got juice? Almost full of juice. Okay. Jam it. Nothing. Other green. Whoops. Pull this one back. The other green. Boom! See that? I don't know if you can see that. Blinded me. Blinded by the light. Boop, 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 boop. Anyway, the light bulb's coming on. So we'll peel this one back. We just want running lights. These two should get that done. Oh, this one is... I could drink a cold snack with this guy. This one's black. No, like a super dark green, a medium green, and a light green. I'm going to say the black. They're different greens than that side even. This guy must have been taking wire from work. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Okay, you know what I mean. So he was just building her a little bit at a time. Let's see what we got here. Black in there. This green. Yep. What does this one do? Nothing. I think one's just a body ground. So let's peel. So mint green is out of the equation. Black is positive. That one's that. There you go. So if a guy were to theoretically jam both of these into here, we've got 18 volts. We could figure out the amps per an 1157 GM light bulb, which would give us the draw, and we could actually do math to figure out if this would be enough to make that last long enough. But there's one problem there. I don't know math. So let me ponder. We may have another way. Well, I did some thinking. I went up front, confirmed with the digital meter, boop, 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 where the power is. Was thinking about zip tying a line up there, plugging it in, or going up to the switch, something like that. Then I remembered, wait a minute, I've got a battery right in this trunk, very close to these here taillights. So I went and asked my buddy Chad, you got some wire? He promptly showed up with this. I'm not really sure. I think this came off the Def Leppard tour. Something about a soundboard mixer, 1987. I think these plug into, nope, that's a microphone. I'm not, look, there's wire in here, is what I'm saying. So if we cut off these guitar looking plug-ins and cut off the microphone ends, could I get enough wire to go from the battery to the taillights and we just juice it? Okay, that's what I thought. That's what we'll do. And then as far as the extra length, you need this for outdoor rated activities, right? Okay. Yeah. Which one did I just take? Green. These wires is a little more slender, you know, so I'm taking quite a bit, about 1.5 inches, because I think we're going to have to twirl it all together to get a good contact. But there's no load really, so as long as it's touching 12 volts, this should do the electricity thing. Come on, get out of there. Get out of there. I don't think I got a wire stripper with me, so I'm trying to gently use my plier. Come on, hips. Yes. Hips. Oof, did I get enough? I think so. Basically using the shielding on this. There we go. So I'll get this done and ready on both ends, and then if we get to the point where we can depart, I can just run back here, plug it in, and know that we got running lights at least. So we'll just have to be quick on the stop signs. Real quick like. Okay, now, can a guy, oh that's already kind of loose. We'll put it under the big cable tab, and that should, oh I got shocked. That should theoretically clamp it. Must not have a good body ground or something. I did green for ground. We'll put that under the sad side here. There we go, connected at the battery. I don't have this jack side split yet, but if I hold my green for ground, which is green, come on you old devil, then I'll take my jack and touch the, trying to remember my musician line, top part. Oh yeah, there you go. Boom. That'll work just fine. Okay, so gotta remember this is hot now. I just need to strip this side, tie everything together, or the grounds at least, and then we will just connect this before we leave. Boom, running lights, and we've got headlights, albeit dim, very dim. And the great thing is I can't see at night, so that's fine, you know. Rain's let up a little bit. That big cell that was supposed to hit us went around, but my buddy just sent me this message. Along our route is severe flooding and water going over the front of Honda Accordises, or whatever those are. So that's really good. You know, we want severe flooding along our path, especially when we have off-road tires and disc brakes. No, we definitely don't. So we may be elongating our trip quite a bit. Worth mentioning, I have a flight tomorrow at 10 a.m. So I need to be home expediently. Thus far, that seems to be going really well. Yeah. Come on now. There we go. All right, we got our hot side. So, just do one more test for whatever reason. Comfort. Wait, why is that already going off? Oh, because it's grounded to the body, and so is the... Whoop, that's a ground. So then I should just need the other one. Ah, that one is not very good grounded. That one does need a ground. Interesting. Okay. Well, anyway, we got our tail lips figured out, so that's good. So now that a guy's got the tail lips figured out, I think we got to figure out if we can cross the brakes off the list as well. Now, it's been cooking for a while. I'm hoping the seals or whatever magical stuff happens inside of that little death pot is working now. It rebuilt itself, maybe. It did before, can it do it once again? The theory is the rear seal on that is weeping off, the lines stay full of fluid, it comes out of the pot. When you refill it, it gets a tiny bit of air in it, but it's building pressure once again. So I'm gonna fire this thing up, lunge it forward, test the brakes, lunge it backwards, test the brakes, brake stall it, see if this thing actually holds itself, and it does. In theory, we're good, right? Okay, let's try it. Is everything plugged in that needs to be plugged in? I'm not even really sure. Key on. Oh, another new web, it's back. Ignition. Bag blockage. Okay. Oh yeah, look at that. Brakes. Brakes. I can't explain that. It's got brakes. Hard brakes. Well, I guess the brake gods are shining down, are clouding, raining down on us today. I'll take it. Well, somehow, some way, the brakes are working. Well, we'll probably pretend we drove around a block and, you know, really dialed them in. But so far, that is great. So let's address this transmission leak. I'm going to get a jack under the front here that I brought in the Bland National, lift this thing up on the tree root, slide some jack stands in there on the other tree root sideways, bang a 2x4 in the other one, climb underneath, dump this. I also need to look at the transmission because although we didn't drive this much, every second this was operating previously, it was wide open shifting gears. So curious to see what that transpan looks like. And then we're probably going to have to call that good enough and figure out everything else on the way because you can see the fog and stuff behind me. It's not looking good on the radar. And we got a flood we're driving into. And there's more, I'm sure. Well, you know what? A guy is going to lose his hood properlizational. I got to remember how to open this. Right underneath the O. Slide it forward. I'll just set it like that for now. I don't know why I brought the heaviest jack I own. More land surface, maybe. Okay. Oh. Yeah, rolls great. So far off to a swimming start. Oh, I gotta show you this magical front end business too. There we go. So this is the original style front end on here, but someone grafted on some angle iron with a stick welder and decided to mount shocks in here. Now I can't remember, of course that one's missing. I guess let's go look at this side. Oh yeah, there's another piece, like a shock tower. So they really had this front end dialed in for back in the day. And I don't know, I guess that helped them somehow. But pretty interesting. And then also, they lifted the front end by that block. See that C-channel where that cable is? Oh, and I gotta tell you about that too. So this C-channel is a lift kit. This piece normally sits on here. So that's how they got that kind of, you know, the gasser look. Lifting the front was putting that C-channel in there. Now that cable that you see right there is an engine tie down right here. Oh, here comes the rain again. So when I snagged this rig up, the guy said, look, it's a solid car, it's got a lot of history, but the engine sounds like it's knocking. It's this weird RPM dependent kind of clank. And I thought, well, we'll go out there, and we had planned on putting a roll of bearings in this thing, quite honestly, like day one. Just pull the motor, put some bearings in it, figure out what's going on. And then we got there and I was like, it's such a weird sound. Could be a flex plate, could be a missing bolt between the bell housing of the transmission and the motor. I mean, it just sounded weird, right? So we started poking and prodding and using extensions as hearing aids and all this stuff. And I found that cable. And that cable has a buckle where it tightens the other end, or both loops together. And when you would get to a certain RPM, the car would vibrate and that buckle would vibrate against the frame. And it was very loud how it was clanking against the frame. So then we held that back and revved the motor up again. Nothing. Relaxed it, revved it up, clanked. So I'll be dipped if this thing sat for decades thinking that the motor was shot. Everyone did. But it was just that homemade engine tie down so the motor doesn't rock when you get excessive throttle or acceleration. And that's how it was. So that's how I ended up getting a really, really smoking good deal on this car here. But anywho's, as it's rocking and about to fall on my leg, let's get some jack stands under this and get this transmission serviced quick. There we go. Safety first. Everything looks pretty good. Give her the shake. Sure, that's fine. Okay, so throw a drain pan under here. It's gonna be looking like Murder, She Wrote. Drain the ATF. I think that kit's got a filter and a gasket. Pop that in quick, top this off, and we have got to hit the road. Okay, so we're gonna loosen the front, not take them all the way out. Being the car is going downhill, we're gonna tilt the pan back and take the fluid out back here. In theory, spacers in here I desperately need. Gotta be very careful. Oh, there it is. Okay. We're cruising here. Oh no. That is right in the way. Got it. Yep. Okay, so problem is this one back here. The cross member is in the way. I don't even know if I could slip this fan back on around the filter in the car, actually. That is becoming a real concern. Fluid looks great. I know it was empty when I got the car for whatever reason. Man, I don't even know how I'm going to start that bolt. It's in a bad, bad spot. If they were cutting this, why didn't they just cut it wider? Speaking of, I wonder if Chad's got a Sawzall. Let me go check. Tire back is soaked in ATF. Okay, let's see if we can make some room here. Oh no! You got another battery? Oh, brother. Oh, they even painted a stripe on the old drive shaft. Well, that was neat. One good thing about my back being completely soaked in ATF is I can slip right in here, you know? Oh, there you are. Yeah, it's really cool so far. It's good. Good. Gasket change. Not getting home till 4 in the morning, and that's only if we don't get carried away by the floods. Spray foam floor. Man, I really did work on this car. It's good. It's real good. This is going good. It's going real good. The rear end's gusseted. Wow. That's pretty sweet. Oh, that was easy. Wow. I wonder why I didn't do that before. Now I might be able to actually get the pan down. Let that cross member cut better. There we go. Oh, of course. That's not right. Filter off. Barely made a mess. Simple. So here we have our filter. We'll start there. There's a bunch of like gravel, mud, I suppose being out in the desert and whatnot. Is that part of it? Is that normal? I'm not sure. Same in here. We got some clutch material for sure. Not terrible. I've seen worse. But these big chunks of like rocky, gravelly stuff. Kind of awkward. But we'll clean this pan up, get her ready to throw back up with the new filter and new gasket. This is an old cork style gasket, and I believe it was leaking more in the front, but you can see how it's brittle, old. Ooh, I got a good run going. Don't have any Roz or Blah days. Sure be nice if this came all the way off. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, yes. Well, that just saved a bunch of time. Get this cleaned out. I think I got a can of brake cleaner or two, and we'll flop her back up. Well, the guy doesn't have any brake clean or carb clean, but I do have some Barrowman B12. I planned on letting it chew on this on the way home, but we're going to use this as a cleaning agent. Whoop, I just spilt all of it out. Slosh this around like we're panning for gold for a minute or two. Ooh, there is some, speaking of, there is some silver flake in there. See that? Boy, look how good that's cleaning it already. Huh. Now we know. Wipe this out, call it good enough. We got to get this thing on the road. We are losing daylight very, very soon. My buddy Chad is more legit than a 5th DOI, so it looks like he already checked this. This was open. And it fits. What I like to do with these is put the bolt through the pan and then feed it through the gasket. And what that actually does, look at that, it holds your bolt in place. So when you're struggling underneath the vehicle trying to do things that you need 4 hands for with one, you can make it happen. So I'm going to feed all this through, other than this side because we got that shifter. We'll be able to get this started pretty easily. The bolt for the filter, I always put back in the valve body so I don't drop that. It's got a smooth shank on it, and that's where that filter rides in here. There's not a threaded part that goes through there. So I should be able to slide under, get all these torqued to 97 foot-pounds, or until they strip, either one, you pick. And then come out once, get the hardware I need for the shifter, go back under, slide that in. We'll have to make sure that that's referenced again because that relationship has changed. Dump whatever fluid we can find around here in it. And then I think we're just gonna have to say good enough at that point. What else do we need? Look at this thing. Road ready. Nope, not even close. Ribs. That's what I have for supper. And potatoes. Okay, now that I got my teeth full of ribs, let's get this puppy down on 4 paws. Throw some additive in it. This is gonna fall, ain't it? We gotta pack all this stuff up, pretend we checked everything else, hook our microphone wires to our taillights, pretend we didn't see a lot of things, and hit the road. I wanted to be getting home around duskish, and we're about to leave around duskish. But the good news is we're letting the floodwaters subside. I don't think I can fit this jack in this car, so we're gonna have to risk it. Okay. Oh, here we go with this. Down, up, forward, forward, down, up. There we go. Barely. I didn't even, oh wait, I did bring one trouble light, didn't I? I got this little one here. I think this one flashes red because I was thinking we'd be on the side of the road. Oh, we're good. Look at that. Can barely see anything. Okay, now I need a funnel and some juice. Drink up. As long as it's just dripping on the ground right now, we should be fine. If I hear a pour or a drizzle, that's when we're in trouble. But good news, transmission as far as material in the pan looks pretty darn good. I turn my bottles the opposite way in cases you can quickly see which ones you've used and haven't. Oh, I forgot to get clutches in a bottle. But that's okay. Okay, now, I'm gonna let this sit for a minute. I'm actually gonna go ahead and load. What am I loading here? I just traded my buddy my big jack for a little aluminum jack. We're gonna load that, and then my tools, my jack stands, throw my rain jacket in here. I gotta dump this shirt. This thing is soaked through and through with ATF. And then I'm gonna move it up on flat ground. Move the Bland National up by his shop because he's gonna take that to the upholstery guy for me. Get it on flat ground. We'll check the blood stick. If that says yay, we'll twist the lights on. Boom, we're out of here. That's about all we have time for. What's this say to us? Empty? Can't be, come on. Oh. Wow, are we really out of oil? I mean, it's got oil. I'm gonna check that on the flat too. We got oil pieces, but it's showing nothing on the stick. That ain't good. Okay, guys, gonna crawl this thing forward and check all my fluids before we hit the road. Went ahead and hot wired the taillights already. Okay, that switch on. Well, it's moving, that's a good sign. Sorry guys, I know you can hardly see anything, but barely can I. Check the blood stick. Man, that big block sounds good. Whew, this is gonna be a trip. It's on the money. I think we're ready to rip. Let's shut it down, check the engine oil. That was a little concerning. And I got some of that if need be. And then whew, we're loaded. We gotta get out of here. Well, the guy has determined we're about 2 quarts low. But it's a little goofy because it's got a 7-quart pan and potentially a stock checkered tuber. But nonetheless, I'm gonna put 2 quarts in because I don't wanna fuss with nothing. We're gonna have to just absolutely cannonball this thing. We're gonna stop for fuel here. First little gas station we come to, and then we just gotta jam. Okay, what am I using here? 1030 VR1, sure. It says motor oil on it. Big blocks don't care. Just dumped a gallon on the header. Remember that when there's smoke flying out. Well, this is pretty much my view for the remainder of the night. Let's fire this thing up, jam it on the road. I don't know if the brakes are actually going to function going down the road. They did in the yard. I also didn't fix the throttle pedal. I forgot about that. You got to reach way up in here. See that way up here? So it's kind of awkward going to the brake. But we'll make do. I can open up the vent, get some air in here. And temp gauge, well, still cold. That's looking good. Okay. Grabbed a fire extinguisher, more ATF just in case. I guess that's it. Let's hit her. Chad let me borrow a shirt. Crawled into the first gas station here. They got ethanol free, believe it or not. I think they got some ham sandwiches from this morning. You know, for supper number 2 on the way home. So when we blow a tire out, we have something to eat while we're waiting for a tow truck. Anyway, that was sketchy at best. All the glass is fogged over. I do have some anti-fog in here. I'm going to throw that on and some Rain-X really quick. Fill this thing up with some really good 87. And we're just going to start crawling. We're taking the back road, so like I said, 218 miles, something like that. Doesn't sound like a lot, but just, it's a lot. It's too much. It's too much. I foamed this tank because we were doing some drag racing, which is good in theory, but it also takes up a lot of capacity. So I may end up reaching in there and taking some of this out. However, a guy is going to be drag racing this very soon once again. A guy is headed to the Duct Tape Drag September 27th and 28th in Tucson, Arizona at Tucson Dragway there. And there's a $5,000 class there, the Hoopty class, where Freiberger will basically vote if your car is $5 grand or not. And if it is, you get to go in there and race. I'm going to try to get in with this. If we don't make her, which he can attest for how much, you know, this is let's call it unique and special. But if not, I get it. They also have open classes and grudge racing, and you can race anything you want. Plus we have the Vice Grip Garage burnout pit, the bonfire, camping, vendors, meet and greets, all that stuff. If you can make it, that would be awesome. Come on out. There's tickets on the FOAT.com, F-O-A-T, and you can come out and hang out and see this car in person. I have no idea what it'll actually run through the boards. It's an 8th mile car, but we'll bring her out and see what happens. Okay, I'm gonna go on and get some accoutrements, and we got to start getting miles down. Quick treatment of anti-fog. It smells like those pads right before you give blood. You know what I'm talking about? It's definitely got some alcohol in it, but it helps keep the fog down. We'll run with the vent open, try to get some air circulation in here. Do Rain-X on the outside. We are going to be traveling through storms tonight, so try to be prepared as we can. Steering is very sloppy. That doesn't do anything. But, you know, original steering on skinnies, what do you expect? The roads are fairly dry, which I'm thankful for. We're on high crust slicks, so if the roads get soaked, we're going to be doing 35, 40, and I don't have flashers in this. So that's also a thing. So I've been looking at the radar, trying to plan a way home, get around all this fog and the rain. Have to kind of play with my ear and see what I can come up with here. Guy's not quite sure how far I've driven, maybe about 50 miles or so. I gotta figure out fuel mileage, which we know is gonna be right around 8. But then I'll feel more comfortable. It finally cleared up, thankfully. I was driving through some really, really dense fog. It was so dense, it was leaving precipitation, or maybe it was rain. I don't know. It was drizzling or whatever, but it was really sketchy. Remember when you was a kid, you'd ride a wagon down a hill and you'd fold the handle back and sit in the wagon and steer it? That is exactly what this is like. You can crank it all the way left, it'll kind of go to the right, but then you hit a bump and it shoots the other way. Every time you hit a bridge in this, you just let go of the wheel and go, coming over some direction. But other than that, the seat's fantastic. Seems to be staying cool, but then again, it's really cool out right now, which is probably good. And we're sleeking along in the dead of night here. Oil pressure is good, it's charging. If the moisture can just stay away from these pie crusts down here, that would be great. I don't have any other tires, obviously, or anything like that. So anyway, let's get filled up, and I think we're going to start heading south here pretty soon. I don't know what's happening. I just did the mathemagitionals. We're getting 11.52 miles to the gallon. I don't know. I think that's the best fuel mileage I've ever gotten out of a big block. The car probably only weighs 2,700 pounds, so that's probably what it is. Well, that was scary. Just jumped that bridge back there and lost the headlights. Must be that fuse in there. I'm gonna try to reach in. Uh-oh. That's not turning them back on. Now we're in trouble. Wow, they're really hot too. Oh no. This is not ideal. Well, I swapped those two fuses around on the right and the lights came back on, so I don't know if it was coincidence, but I believe I blew that fuse, and that's not good news because I only got 3 left. And then we're jamming gum wrappers or something in there, but nonetheless, we got to get moving. I am in a bad spot without flashers. Let's keep on rocking. Well, I made it about 100 yards. Lost them again. This is not good. Might have to get the voltmeter to see what's going on here. Well, the guy had to trace a bunch of wires around, monkey around, and swap some fuses and do some stuff, but I think we're good. We better get some miles down if that happens again. I think I'm out of fuses. Well, it did it again. So I went and got one of these, the green one I cut off. It jammed it in where the fuse is. We got headlights. Let's keep rocking. Well, I pulled over to check the left front. Felt goofy, but I guess it's okay. I thought maybe the lug nuts were walking loose. These are new wheels, you know. And then I realized my license plate was ready to snap off. It was folded all the way down. I just barely kinked it, taped that into the window. I unhooked the electric fan. I think that was the cause of my electrical issues, is it's overloading everything. I don't know where I had that hooked in, but now I gotta keep moving because when I sit, it might get hot. Let's see what it says. Oh, it's 190, should be all right. Okay, let's keep going. Well, the guy was stopped right on that off-ramp, decided to swing in here for fuel. And boy, I'm glad I did. It was empty on the foam. Get this filled up. Cute little station here. Well, it is early in the morning, but we made it. You know, a guy figured it was going to be sketchy, but I didn't think it was going to be that sketchy. You know, there's just something makes the guy want to pucker up a little bit when you're doing 55 down a highway in rain and fog and your headlights turn off. The first through the sixth time. Then you get used to it, you know, hanging the cellular phone out the window like, I don't know if it's more like, look at me, or try to figure out where you're going. Anywho's, we made her home with all the hot wiring and stuff I did. I had to go start ripping fuses out to get it shut off. That's also neat. So guys got just enough time to, well, fix nothing and pretend nothing happened. Ignore a lot of things. Get it on a trailer because it's going to be in Tucson, Arizona at Tucson Dragway for the duct tape drags. Hope to see you guys there. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can see the car in action. We're going to make some laps with that thing. Meet the family, hang out, grab yourself some merchandise, whatever else. It is a ton of fun. But thanks guys for watching. Appreciate you so very much. I don't have to ask this time. You will see this car again. It's going to be around for a long time. But if you have any tips, tricks, suggestions, love to hear them. Bleep bloop them down there. I check them out all the time. Thanks guys, appreciate it very much. I'm getting me a cold snack and going right to bed.